What is up, everyone? Welcome to episode 3 of the Weekly Journal. It's obviously me, Andrew Pearson, coming at you. It is Sunday night, already pitch black out, of course. So we got the ambient lighting going on in the apartment. But hope you've all had a good week. I'll be honest, this week hasn't been as productive as I've wanted it to be. In terms of music, I've been working on this remix that I started. I think I touched on a little bit last week for Alesso. And it's the sound that I want to do moving forward. It's super energetic. Of course, I love, both sides of like the progressive house scene from like 2012 to 2014, where it's the super melodic stuff, which I first, obviously, like I mentioned, fell in love with. And then the super bass driven stuff that I also really love, that like both of them work hand in hand together in a set that I think is like perfect. So like this one is kind of more bass driven, I guess you could say. And I have it all arranged out. The idea is great. It's really there. Everybody that I've shown it to so far has absolutely loved it. And I'm at this part where it's more of the nitpicky stuff in terms of creatively, not really mixing and mastering, because I haven't even touched that yet. But it's more just trying to break away from the repetition of everything. Every 4 bars, trying to have something that's interesting for the listener to hear and that they don't get bored of the drop overall. That's kind of been hard. I've tried a few different things, tried throwing some stuff in, seeing if it worked, not liking it and deleting it, and then just re-listening to everything. And that's one of the traps that you don't want to get caught in, because the more you listen to something, even if you love it at the start, the more you listen to your idea, I find you start to slowly hate it. No matter how excited you are from the start of it, unless you get that track done in a day or like day and a half, the more and more you listen to it, you listen to the drop, you listen to a certain part, you slowly start to hate it yourself, because that's what we do as producers. Even if somebody hears the track the first time and they're like, wow, this is the most amazing thing ever, you're kind of just at that point like, it's okay, I guess. But I'm just starting to notice that I'm getting to that point, and I don't want to get to that point because I know how much I love the idea from the start. So I'm trying to reference a lot of the songs that I'm using in terms of like arrangement references, just sound design references, and just, creatively. That's a big thing, because there's a lot of stuff that's kind of similar to this. So I have to just go and, break it down, pull the track into Ableton, zoom in, see the waveform, what they're doing, listen to what they're doing, what they're filtering, what they're adding, taking away, all that stuff to keep the track interesting for the listener. And of course, after being out of it for a good amount of time, there's going to be things that I need to touch on, and this is one of them 100%. This is kind of course, other than the mixing and mastering side to get my songs to a professional sounding level, it's to keep the listener engaged throughout the whole thing and to not have them feel bored or have the song feel a little bit repetitive going forward. So that's kind of what I've had issues with. And I've had ideas that I've recorded into my phone, whether it's like a melodic idea or something for this track. And one thing that I don't know if envy is the right word, but I think I just need to put in more time to get there. But the people that can just record something on their phone and then just go right into whatever they're working on and make exactly what, even if it's like ba 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 ba, just something crazy like that, and then putting that into whatever DAW they're working in and having it sound amazing. Like figuring out the layers, figuring out everything, and then just bringing that idea to life. That's something that I kind of have a hard time doing. Because I'm not really musically trained, I guess you could say. I know my way around keys and whatever, and I know a little bit about music theory, but when it comes to intervals and stuff like that, I have a hard time with that type of stuff when it comes creatively like that. But we move forward though. It'll come. Something will happen where I'll be like, oh, this is a little happy accident, and then it'll work where I need it to, and the song will be finished. Then I can move on to mixing and mastering and on to the next one, because I'm trying to really focus on finishing music. Because I mentioned in the first weekly journal, that finishing music is the number one thing. Getting your reps in, as my mentors like to say, is the number one thing. You're not going to get good as a producer if you have a hard drive full of unfinished ideas. So that's kind of what I've been working on there and having issues with, which has kind of been a little bit frustrating. Maybe I haven't really been working as hard as I have been this week, because we are getting closer to the holidays now. Of course, Christmas is coming up on Thursday. It's the 21st when I'm recording this, so I've been busy getting ready for that. I was just in Toronto on the weekend with my family, visiting my brother and sister-in-law, and we had a great weekend. It was lovely seeing them. We got back late last night, and I brought my computer with me so I could work on music in the car on the drive up. But I had one of those moments where it was just throwing stuff at a wall, nothing stuck. I got frustrated and I closed Ableton. Also, my laptop seems to die super fast when it's not plugged in, so it's a little bit old, but it still works, so we're going to keep going with that. But I'm not letting it discourage me from finishing it. I'm going to finish the song, whether it takes me a little bit longer, or I'm going to finish the song whether it takes me a little bit longer or not, and I'm going to be very happy with the outcome. And like I said in that first week, finished is better than perfect, and I want to finish it rather than perfect it. Otherwise, it's just been smooth sailing here, working on content, getting used to that. I've now been used to working on these videos and recording them. It's a lot of fun. I look forward to it. I'll start, converting little clips of the weekly journals into content that I can post on Instagram and TikTok. There's been a lot of, again, great support on everything, and I thank everybody from the bottom of my heart. I was just over at my friend's house helping him with something, and he just can't stop talking about how happy he is seeing me do what I'm doing, and it just made me feel really, motivated and inspired to keep going with what I'm doing. I know I talked about goals going into the new year that I'd touch on this episode. I'm still working on those, if I'm being honest. I haven't really had time to think about them, even though it's been a week since the last episode of the weekly journal, but I'm starting to, get them rounded up. I think I have a good idea of what I want to touch on, and I think next week on the 28th is when I'll do that. We'll go through all the goals that I have going into 2026, what I want to achieve, other than obviously finishing a lot of music, pushing my content out there and reaching more of my fan base, and obviously connecting with you, my fan base. But yeah, it's been a little bit of a slower week in terms of production, and that's going to happen. I can't let that, bring me down. I have to keep pushing forward, because I could have a bad day today and then tomorrow have all the ideas in the world and finish everything super quick. So just got to stay optimistic and hope for the best, as always, and with everything in life. And we keep pushing. We keep pushing forward to finishing that track and then starting a new one. And, keep on implementing the sound that I'm going for in the new year. So thanks for tuning into this one. Another shorter one, but next week will be a little bit more in depth again, talking about the goals, maybe sharing a little bit of the remix, who knows. Hopefully I don't get taken down for copyright because of that on YouTube, but we'll keep pushing. Anyways, everyone, I'm going to wrap it up now. I hope you have an amazing and Merry Christmas with your family and loved ones. I hope that all the food, drink, and everything is the best that it can be for you. I'll talk to you again on Sunday. It's been amazing. Again, with all the support, I can't thank you enough. And yeah, looking forward to talking to you again. We'll see you on Sunday next week. Much love.